Hey, yo, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money, and in today's episode, I'm just gonna ask this question, and I'm gonna ask it very well. Some of y'all may not like it, some of y'all may have negative views about it, some of y'all may have positive views about it. But I'm just gonna say it. Does everything has to be named after Donald Trump? Come on now. What is going on? It's like everything is being named after Donald Trump. Recently, I don't know if y'all heard that the Palm Beach County Airport, which is Palm Beach County, which is one of the three counties here in the South Florida area, because in South Florida we have Miami-Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County. The Palm Beach County International Airport is being renamed the the Donald J. Trump Airport. Um, Governor Ron DeSantis was changing the airport in his name because he does have a house, a home there in Mar-a-Lago, which is in Palm Beach County. And of course, you know Donald Trump wanted to name the Kennedy's Honor Center, the Kennedy Center, Honor Center, after him. But you know, the government vetoed that and they took his name down because he wanted to be over. It's called the Kennedy Honor Center. It's not the Donald J. Trump Kennedy Honor. It's named after Kennedy. Why do you need your name on everything? And there is a um street in Hialeah here, and that is named the Donald J. Trump. I don't know if it's Boulevard or Avenue, but there is a Donald J. Trump. And I'm sitting up here like, does everything needs to be named after Donald Trump? This man is not gonna stop until he have to. And remember, I don't know if I did a video of this. They're building a Donald Trump library here in downtown Miami, on the park, which is on the parking lot for Miami-Dade College. It is literally going to be across the street from the Freedom Tower, Bayside Marketplace, and the Kaseya Center and Miami-Dade College. The location now is a parking lot for the staff and faculty of Miami-Dade College. But the fact that they're literally building a Donald Trump library there, and I'm sitting up here like, what are you gonna have in a Donald Trump library that a regular library ain't gonna have? For you to build the Donald Trump, because I honestly, I'm not condemning the man, because I'm not condemning any president. You know, I'm not saying that I'm against Donald Trump or I'm for Donald Trump, because allegedly, you know, you can't come after a president, because if you do come after a president, they're gonna be knocking at your door asking questions. You know, I've seen several people that are, you know, they have, you know, said their things, and now we need to talk to you. You know, remember that episode of Good Times when Michael was doing a project on the Cuban crisis or whatever, and he sent the letter to Cuba, and then the FBI got involved because they wanted to know why he was, you know, contacting Cuba and all that stuff. You know, but my thing is, everything does not has Donald Trump name on it. I guarantee you, within the next couple of years, they're gonna have a Donald Trump dollar. Remember when Barack Obama became president? A lot of cities, including the city here in the city of Opelika, which is where I grew up in, they was one of the first cities to have a street named after him. And I was like, yes, Barack Obama, because he was the first, not really the first, but he was the first African American president, you know, and stuff like that. We're not going to get into that argument, because I know a lot of you going to argue me with that. But yeah, now it's like, I understand you want to name a street after Donald Trump. I understand you want to, you know, do something like, but everything cannot be named after Donald Trump, because they praise him and everything and all that. What, you gonna have the Donald Trump alligator Alcatraz? What, you gonna have the Donald Trump train station? A lot of people don't like the fact that they're naming the airport after him. That man is probably literally not from Florida, but the fact that you want to name the airport after him because You praises this man. You give this man the praise. You know, he has a home here in the city, so you want to name the airport out. Man, please. Because I guarantee you, once he finished creating that ballroom, it's going to be the Donald J. Trump ballroom. Not now president, and they might have, because I've never been to the White House, but we have 40-something presidents. Not all 40-something presidents doesn't have something named after them in that White House. They may have the George Washington Room or the, President Hoover's Sanctuary Library or something like that. But you don't have a whole ballroom named after you. And you can't tell, you tore down history just to build something because you wanted to feel special and have something contributed to the White House. You contributed something to the White House yourself. But my thing is, people don't see that the things that the government is doing, and the government is overturning a lot of things that Trump is doing and a lot of things. Because remember, like I said, he wanted to name the Kennedy's Honor Center after him, and he put his name on, and the government vetoed. The government say, you can't just put your name on everything. You out here want to put your name, what it is, the Donald Trump Transportation, the Donald Trump Airport, the Donald Trump Supermarket, the Donald Trump Street. Yeah, you can get your name on a street because you're the president, but you can't get your name on a box of cereal. My thing is, you want to own everything. You can't own everything, Look at what's been going on since he's been in office. And I'm going to tell you this, and I've said this so many times, and I probably said it in some of my videos. Every day, Donald Trump has been in the news since he got into office. Even before, when he was in office back in 2020, he was in the news. That man has been in the news every day. Every day the news come on. Donald Trump. Whatever it's had something to do with the Epstein files, whether it has something to do with somebody trying to kill him, whether it has something to do with his policies or him having a new law or him visiting another country. He's been in the news every day. You have never seen Barack Obama. You have never seen Bush. You have never seen Clinton. You have never seen, Biden every day they're on the news. And then this man is the only president that tweets so much to the point that they had to literally kick him off of Twitter, which is now X. Because I'm like, dude, you're the only president that tweets. When you see Barack Obama you don't barely see Barack Obama. You see Michelle more than Barack Obama. She's on tour. She be going to little, community events. She be going on TV shows, doing little guest appearances. She be having these little sit-down talks with these, TV shows and stuff like that. You see more of her than you do of him. And I'm sitting up here like, why do we have to see this man every day? And every day is something new that is hitting us. You're changing the government that is making our lives miserable. A lot of these changes may not be coming from you in general, but a lot of these changes is coming from your people, from your cabinet. And I'm sitting up here like, why is it going down? Ron DeSantis is naming the Palm Beach International Airport the Donald J. Trump Airport. For what reason? You want to make the ballroom and probably name it the Donald Trump Ballroom. You tried to put your name on the Kennedy's Honor Center, but the government said, you can't have everything on your name. Next thing you know, they're going to be calling it the Donald J. Trump White House. No. You're tearing down history to try to build your own. You want your name stamped on everything. I guarantee you, if you all have an apartment building, Donald Trump will probably say, oh, we can name this the Donald J. Trump Apartments. And then you know what that'll do to the apartments? You could be probably paying $1,000 in rent. But just because it has Donald Trump name on it, you're now going to be paying $3,000 in rent. And I'm like, what does that name have to do with where I live at? If I live in the hood and you want to simply name my name to Donald Trump, you don't see me going around saying, this is a Barack Obama street. This is the Joe Biden street. I know people who are famous and who are heroes and who are celebrities in their own backyard that needs a name on their street. When I was in high school, when I grew up, my pastor in my church, rest in peace, and I'm gonna say his name, rest in peace, the Reverend James Warthour, in the church I grew up in, ended up getting a street named after him because he passed away due to a car accident. And I don't remember the full story. I think the story is because he was outside of his car and another car hit him or something like that. But I don't even know the full story. But I know he died of a car accident, and and that man ended up getting a street named after him. And I was like, I love it. And my thing is, yeah, there are important people in here that really literally need a street named after them because they gave to the community. There was a community activist and they were somewhat of importance here in the community. Donald Trump don't like Hialeah. I'm not saying he don't. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, Donald Trump, because remember, he's deporting all immigrants. A lot of the immigrants and a lot of people that he support, he don't want these immigrants over here. And you realize, allegedly in Hialeah, a lot of these, you know, he's trying to get rid of the foreigners. He don't want nothing over here that is not from here. He does support it, but then y'all sit up here and y'all want to name this place after him, and I look at it as if, why do everything has to have his name on it? A lot of y'all don't understand this, and a lot of y'all don't see where we're coming from with this government. And it's not just with Trump, it's with the government in general. The government is doing things and it makes me feel like, what in the world we got going on here? I know the government has been corrupted for years. I know the government hasn't been the same. You got the cost of living that keeps going up. I did a video about how they want to cut, a lot of stuff from food stamps. Now they want to overturn that because they feel like you can't cut sodas and snacks and stuff from food stamps, and then you got, they want to get rid of food stamps because at one point they wanted to get rid of food stamps. It's hard for people to get on government assistance. Remember at one point when I told you back then when Governor Rick Scott wanted to do, when he was the governor of Florida, he wanted to make everybody take a drug test to get government assistance, and you had to pay $30 to take that drug test. And if you pass the drug test, you get your $30 back. But if you failed the drug test, not only you don't get your $30 back, but you don't get the government assistance you need. You had to take a drug test to get food stamps. You had to take a drug test to get, public housing. You had to take a drug test to do this, drug test. And I'm looking at it like, what in the world? And then the government had to step in and say, hey, you can't make people take drug tests to get government assistance. That's like telling a worker, you got to take a drug test just to be a manager. No. Because what people do outside of their house, like me, like for instance, I know you need to take a drug test because I did it when I first started at Winn-Dixie. I had to take a drug test, and they sent me to a location to go take a drug test. And some companies, they do have to take a drug. Now a lot of companies, they don't do drug tests, they do background checks. They only do drug tests if you get injured on the job. But there are some companies that do tell you have to take a drug test before you get hired. But most companies, they do background checks. Because if you have any type of criminal record or whatever, then they need to let you know, hey, you can't get hired here. I know the NBA and a lot of sports companies, they do that have, if you're working in the NBA, whether you working as a ticket person, taking tickets, whether you working in the food service at the concession stands, whether you working in the locker room, cleaning the locker rooms, I know a lot of these things you have when you get hired, regardless, even if you're getting hired by a company, because I know you're not, a lot of these, companies, restaurant companies, they have contract with these businesses and stuff, like in the malls and stuff like that, or a lot of these companies that have businesses that associate with these companies, hey, we don't actually work for the Miami Heat, but hey, we are a company that is a contract, because a lot of these people have contracts, and they tell you, hey, you got to take a background check and things like that. And so I know that a lot of things are like that, but at the same time, I look at it as if why, getting not to get off topic, do we have to have a lot of these things? And I know the government is not going to be ever be the same, and the government is going to be corrupted for years to come, even after we are long gone and we are up in heaven, and when we are taken from this earth, hopefully no time soon, you know, because I know Martin Luther King is looking down like, y'all got this man in the office. I know a lot of these political advocates and these, people, Jesse Jackson and all of them, I know they looking down as saying, rest in peace, Jesse Jackson, and then they looking down at, like, are you serious? What's going on? Like, y'all got this man in the office, and literally this man does not, and then he claims he's done most for black people than any other president. And I'm like, are you serious? But my thing is, the government has not, and I look at this and I say, you can't fault the president for everything, because at one point they was faulting Barack Obama, at one point they was faulting Bush, at one point they was faulting Joe Biden. You remember when Joe Biden wanted to run for president again for a second term, and everybody chastised him because of his health and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Joe Biden's health is not the greatest because he is the oldest president to ever become president. But y'all realize he is better than Donald Trump, because I'm not going to put no president above any other president, but you got to realize, within the past 2 terms that Donald Trump's been in the office, what changes has been made? One, you want everything to be named after you. 2, you think that you're doing something because you're tearing down the West Wing of the White House to build, and the West Wing probably been up there since the 1800s when George Washington was there. Yes, they had to make improvements to the White House ever since the 1800s, because of course, a house that's been standing since the 1800s, of course you have to make several renovations and repairs and stuff like that. But you tore down a historical section of a building just so you could build something that is worthy of your beneficiary. And this man has money, and I'm sitting up here, y'all realize, and then I was thinking about it, and I was looking at something that they was talking about the other day about how, a president doesn't make as much as a billionaire. You think the president don't make as much as Bill Gates? I know the last time I saw how much a president make, a president only made $2,000 a month. And I'm finna do this. We're finna do this. How much does the president of the United States makes in a month? A president per month makes an annual fixed salary of $400,000 annually, and that's 33.333.33 per month. And literally, to us regular folks, that's money. But to a millionaire, that's chump change, because you're looking at it as nothing. I'm going to do this. You're looking at it as nothing, because as Bill Gates, you're like, that's chump change. I can make that in a month. I got Microsoft and all this other stuff. And Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, now is Meta and all that. I can make that in a month. You know how much stuff I got? And a lot of these billionaires look at that as chump change. And I look at it as if that man makes more money than you think, because he don't run his, because when he got into president, they said that he can't run his businesses. So he switched his businesses over to his sons. His son runs the companies, but he's still making the money. He can't make the office decisions and stuff like that. But y'all know behind closed doors, that man making all the decisions. It's just in the public eye, he can't be seen running all of his businesses and running all of his stuff But behind closed doors, his son called it, Dad. Oh yeah, let's do this and do this, behind closed doors, because he's still making business deals behind closed doors, because he can't let the public eye see him conducting business, because he's not supposed to be running any of his. When you become president of the United States, whatever business you're part of, you have to give that business up. That's just a lot of these politicians. Most politicians, especially like city commissioners, mayors and stuff, most of them come from, like, a lot of these city officials, like Frederica Wilson, one of the favorite congresswomen that's retiring this year. She was a teacher at a school. Then she became a principal. Then from a principal, she became a school board member. Then from school board member, she became a state representative. Then from state representative, she became a congresswoman. And a lot of these people, it's steps. Just like a lot of these judges. A lot of these judges was police officers at one point. And then a lot of the police officers became lawyers. And then from lawyers, because a lot of judges, 99% of these judges was lawyers before they became judges. Because you got to know the system before you can actually become a judge. And to know the system, you have to be a lawyer. And that's the thing. A lot of these positions. And I'd rather for somebody to be a president that was a political person. Remember, Barack Obama was a senator, I believe, or like he was already in office, because I think he was a senator or a congressman or something he was before he became the actual president. I like that. Now, city commissioners is different, because I look at city commissioners as, I'd rather somebody who's like me and you. Oh, I was a manager at an office building. Now I want to become a commissioner, because I don't have people that say, I want to be one of the people that be catching the bus with the people on the way to work and talking with the people. I like that. Instead of stepping outside and stepping into your $2 million car to go to work every day, let me ride the bus to work and talk to the people. I'm the commissioner of Liberty City or Overtown, or I'm the commissioner of down south, and I want to talk to the people and get that, things like that. You don't want to be somebody that hides behind the desk all the time. And and that's what I want for my government. I want somebody who goes out into the streets and talk to the people and listen to the people. Regardless if I gotta have Secret Service with me or not, I want to listen to what the people have. I want a government official to come to Overtown and speak to the people of Overtown, to tell them, to see what's going on and what they need in their city. I want somebody that can come to Liberty City, or to come to Opelika, or to come to North Miami, or to come to the urban areas of the cities, and talk to the people and say, hey, this is what I want, or this is what's happening. Listen to us. When have you ever seen Donald Trump step foot in Liberty City? When have you ever seen Donald Trump step foot in Overtown or Opelika, or any president for that nature? Besides, I've not seen Barack Obama inside of Overtown. I've not seen Barack Obama at Wynwood. I'm not saying that I've seen him there, but I've seen videos of him in the urban areas, because that's what matters. But then again, you want to put your name on everything out here because you feel like you're the best president ever. There is no best president. There's just only presidents that do good for the communities. Remember when Barack Obama said about the stimulus check, and Barack said, everybody got a stimulus check. We just didn't put our stamp on it. And he said that on that. And I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. And he said, and he told them that. And I mean, and listen to this.
Some folks be like,
and you got to listen to this.
well, Donald Trump sent me a check.
I'm sorry, y'all. It is.
Some folks be like, well, Donald Trump sent me a check during the pandemic. No. Y'all know, because I've heard this. I know some of you heard that. Hey, let me make sure y'all understand this. Joe Biden sent you a check during the pandemic, just like I gave people relief during the Great Recession. The thing is, we didn't put our name on it because it wasn't about feeding our egos. It wasn't about advancing our politics. It was about helping people. That's the difference. Don't be giving them credit for that.
And y'all realize that's what he's trying to do, that he's trying to stamp his name on a lot of stuff to make it seem like I did this, I did that. And I know a lot of y'all may come for me for saying this, you know, and a lot of people may come in the comments. And this is what this show is all about: the negative comments and the negative views versus the positive comments and the views. Like Barack will say, you don't stamp your name on something that's for the American people. You're trying to put your name on a building that is named after one of the greatest presidents out there. One of the greatest presidents. Not saying that he is the great president. John F. Kennedy. They call it the Kennedy Center the Kennedy Center for a reason. Because it's named after him. You can't put something that you probably wasn't even born. And even if you was born, you was probably still a little kid when John Kennedy was president. You know? But my thing is, you can't put your name on everything because you want to stamp it. Just like the stimulus check. He want to put his name, oh, I gave the people stimulus check. No. The government gave stimulus checks because of COVID. You realizing if COVID would have never happened, none of us would have got those stimulus checks. A lot of people would have still been in their corporate jobs. You remember when COVID hit, people lost their jobs and had to start from the bottom and make it back to the top. Like Drake said, started from the bottom, now we up. People lost their jobs and had to go work. People lost $1 million job they was working at to go flip burgers at Burger King to make ends meet to pay their bills. People lost management jobs, CEO jobs, you know, supervisor jobs. They lost a lot of their life and had to start from the bottom just to do. Businesses closed and everything. But you put your stamp, I gave you stimulus check. No, you did not. The government did. You stamped your name on that because you think it feel like you did it. No, you had to do it. If it wasn't for the COVID, you would have never known. It ain't you. You know, just like Obama said. Joe Biden gave you a stimulus check, but he didn't put his name on it. I helped the people do the Great Recession, but I didn't put my name on it. You know, and this is the thing that I want y'all to realize and understand. Every president that comes into office does not get to stamp their name on anything. They may have did something that the other presidents probably didn't do, but you can't say, I put my stamp on it, that's my name. I put my name on it, I did it. I put my name on it, I did it. No, you can say, I am the president that got this done, but I'm not going to stamp my name on it because I'm just doing what the people need, you know. If I was a president and I say I'm the one that got lowered rent, I'm not going to go and say, I lowered rent, I did it. No, you just did something to help Americans live, but you can't stamp your name on it because you're just doing what you're supposed to do. I want y'all to know, do y'all think it's right for a president to put their name on everything as if to claim, just like how he's putting his name on everything? Do you think it's right for presidents to claim everything they do and put their name on it? Or do you think it's not right? Because to me, it's not right to put your name on things that didn't happen. You know, I'm not going to say, Barack Obama helped kill, helped find, Hosam, helped find, Iraq and kill and, help end the war. No, it's just that he helped try to end the war, and he did, but he didn't automatically end the war. He helped to try to end the war, and he didn't help end the war until his second term in office, because it took him a minute. Yeah, everybody thought that when Barack got into office, he was going to end this war. No, he didn't end the war in his first office. He ended it in his second term, but still, it took some time. And he didn't put his name on it. He just said, I'm going to do what I need to do. So let me know what y'all think about this. Do you think that Donald Trump's name need to be going on everything? Because it seems like he wants to put his name on everything. Do you think of that? Let me know what you think. Email me, roundtable305@yahoo.com. You can also comment at the bottom of this page. For any of y'all that may come for me, I do apologize if you think that this post is very negative on the situation, but it is not. You realize this is the Roundtable Talk, and we do express our opinions on various topics, whether it's political, personal, entertaining, whatever. We do express our opinions because we are this is a YouTube based show that express opinions on anything, regardless if it's everyday life, political life, personal life, public life. It doesn't matter. So if you think that this is negative, or if you don't think of these this video as something interesting, I do apologize, but I'm not apologizing for my political out views. That's why I try to keep it cordial when it comes to me explaining my views and things of politics, because I do have a positive and a negative side of politics, and a lot of you may support my views, a lot of you may not support my views, but I just speak on what I feel is right. But I thank y'all for watching this, and as always, stay safe, stay blessed, stay hydrated, and of course, I will see you in the next episode. Take care.